Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. This is part 2 of our unboxing of Too Many Bones. If you haven't seen the first part, make sure that you do prior to jumping into this one. We've already covered the main base box, we've already covered the dice rolling mat, and we're going to be moving into the expansion boxes in this video. So if you haven't checked out the first one, make sure to jump into that video now just before I move into other things that you may or may not be familiar with from the first one. So we're going to jump right into it. We have 3 character boxes to rip through. They shouldn't take too much time as they're specific to one character. So here's Nugget, for example. This character here is one of the gear locks that you can have in the game. And it comes with a character mat. There's a bunch of things that it actually has that comes within the actual game. So you got 16 skill dice, stat dice, you get your own tray, which is nice as well. Got your own mat, everything. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna rip this open. I'll show you what's inside. This unboxing here is for the extra stuff outside the base game. So hopefully these videos will give you guys an idea of what's in here so that you can make a decision as to whether you want to add these characters. Obviously by adding a character, you're adding a whole new way to play the game. You're adding replayability. You're also adding more options for your friends or family to be able to choose from when they want to play the game themselves. So here's Nugget. I'm just going to check to make sure you guys can see this. So what does Nugget have inside their box? Same great artwork. So it seems like this is pretty much the standard. I just flipped it over because I was excited to see if they had carried it through to the expansions, and they do. So it looks like they actually do go ahead and do the same artwork, which is very cool because it's really nice. The dice tray here has the same kind of setup as the other ones. Carries all the dice for the character as well as comes with the chip that is for your character as well. And then of course you have the contents of the box itself. So you have 2 things. You should have your player mat. So again, it's specific to Nugget. Again, having totally different perks and abilities than anything we've seen in the other characters. And then some very, very cool artwork as well. Very nice. And then you also have your player board, which is made in the same kind of quality. Again, this is kind of the thing that you use as your reference, and this is really what ends up becoming and what I'll be studying in order to do a playthrough of these, because the game is playable, thankfully, just like Rolling Solo wants it to be. It is a solo playable game. You can play it solo, and we will be playing a solo playthrough of this thing at least once. And so again, the quality of the components are amazing, super thick, really nice, indestructible. Pretty sure you could chuck this in water and it's sealed and it wouldn't do any damage. I've seen videos of them doing that and I think it's hilarious. Don't know if I recommend it, so don't buy this game and then play it in the tub. It's not that like I don't know, maybe you can. So maybe give the designers a quick call before you run this thing down, take it to the tub and try to see if you can play it. It depends on how much you care about your games. I'd prefer to not have to dry off everything when it's done. And I also think just playing on a table is pretty normal, so I'm okay with that. Although I do understand that the idea of that underwater video they made on their YouTube channel, that Chip Theory Games did, was mainly to show how indestructible and how amazing the component quality was. And as I mentioned in previous videos, or previous unboxing video, I will be doing a component overview for this. So anything you're seeing right here and you're kind of wondering, why didn't you take the dice out? Why didn't you rip that pack of cards open? I'm going to do that in another video. So here is another character, Gilly, another gear lock from the world of Too Many Bones. And again, different colored dice, different setup. And you know, I'm not threatening you with a knife, right? I'm not like waving in your face. So we'll rip this open. It's the exact same kind of setup likely inside as Nugget's character. So this is the one we did first, and now we'll do Gilly. Gilly doesn't want to come out of the box, so there's Gilly. Okay, and Gilly's got a little bit different setup. So he's kind of got the green dice going on. So he's got all the green, he's got his player chip in the middle there. We can probably pull this out as one unit. We've got a reference sheet. So this is, again, same type of situation. A lot of content, a lot of words to read, but very cool. And a character specifically made for the game with different abilities. There's Gilly. I've heard he's a really popular character. A lot of people seem to like him. He is a ranged character from what I can tell. I don't know much about the game itself, but he does have a bow up near his name, so I'm assuming that qualifies him as a ranged character, and his art even has a bow as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that, but I've heard good things about his character. I've really heard good things about all three of the extra characters. There's not one that you can get that's per se better than the others. There's just, they play different. They have more unique mechanics between them. So it's kind of one of those things where, like, if you purchase the base game, you're going to have a ton of fun with just the 4 core gear locks that you get in the game. If you go ahead and add these guys, you're just enhancing your experience. And obviously, if you get one, you're going to probably get sucked into buying the other 2. Vice versa. I think once you go down that road, you likely just want all of them. And that's essentially what happened to me. So Tink is the next one. Tink is a mechanic, it seems. He likes toying around with things. So he's got the, I think it's kind of red dice. It might be orange. It's kind of hard to see what color that is, but it's got kind of like a reddish orange look to it. So we're going to go ahead and rip this one open. And we'll see what's inside. I'm just throwing this stuff off the table right now because I don't really care about plastic. I do care about too many bones though, that's for sure. So there we go. This is Tink. Come on, you can stay up there. There we go. Oh, it is kind of orange. That's cool. So Tink has very, very vibrant orange dice. And I really don't know if the color is popping on the camera as much as it is, but when I'm looking at the camera right now and I'm looking at the dice, they're a more deep-seated orange than what's showing up on the camera. So just be aware, the color of this game, I don't know if the camera's not doing it justice. It really isn't. This is like a Halloween pumpkin orange and like really deep orange, like a dark, dark orange. And it's showing up kind of like a really light version of orange on camera. So just be aware of that. Things look better in real life than do on camera. Here's Tink as well. Totally different setup for camera, or for his health, attack, dexterity, defense. He's got kind of the gear symbol up the top, which he is a gear lock in general, but I don't know what that means. Maybe it means he's a mechanic. So here's the specific dice unlocks for him based on his skill matrix that he can use. Very cool. And of course, last but not least, his player board, which comes with the game. And again, same quality, very nice. It's got that sandpapery feeling to it on the one side, and then sheer glossiness on the other side. Talks about so again, like, I don't know anything about the game specifically, but this is going to talk specifically about what each of the dice that he has, what they do, what these abilities allow you to do, and how to use them. So again, sorry for the shimmer, but this thing is very glossy. So very, very nice artwork. And I do love the fact that you've got these up here. It does mention these things like up in the top saying solo and has these little circles. I'm thinking that means that it's rating its difficulty. Based on the word difficulty, that probably is. So I'm assuming if you're playing Tink solo, his difficulty's through the roof, is what I'm gathering from the 4 circles there. So there's probably certain characters you'd want to try first, maybe before moving to a more difficult character in the future, because, you know, maybe it wouldn't be the wisest decision to play Tink as the first solo character you've ever given a shot with. So that's essentially it. Those are the 3 expansions currently available. Now, I've heard rumors that Chip Theory Games is planning on continuing to expand this universe and build off it. They're not officially done with it. But as of right now, they are. This is all the content. Literally everything you can get for Too Many Bones I have here. What this is really just an enhancement for thematic feel. So what happens is inside this game, you get... you don't get this, and it's not part of the main box, but I think it's one of the coolest things. And what it does is that little circle chip that was inside of this box essentially goes on here as a counter, and as you move through the world, facing encounters, trying to find the tyrants at the end of it, so in War Sphere, for instance, or way up here in Ebenheart, or over here in Shellfeast, if I'm pronouncing those correctly, there's tyrant layers in all those red spots, and then encounters in all the white spots. And then, and then you face tyrants and stuff like this. You battle them, all that good stuff. The tyrants' chips actually sit here, and sit here. So you know, like, kind of like where you're heading on your journey, who's going to be the end boss you're going to be fighting. And then down here in the bottom right is essentially like a counter for the amount of rounds, I believe. It might be a daytime counter or something along those lines. But in the game itself, there's a way to count without using this. But if you buy this, then you can put a chip in here, and you actually can spin the chip to keep the count kind of live and in your face, which I think is really cool. So, I mean, I guess I can rip this one open just so that you guys can see it instead of seeing it through plastic, because this one doesn't require all that much effort to take out of its bag. Again, we'll be going over all this in the component overview that I do. on my channel, and there we go. So hopefully this gives you a little idea more about the color. So it probably shows up a little bit better now, right? So very, very colorful, very, very nice, high quality, and it's neoprene matte. It's very nice, very, very nice. So this is the one that I'm the most, I don't know enough about this one. So what it says in the back of the Liberation Logbook, which is really, this is meant to be a collector's piece that enhances the story of the background, as well as with some artist drawings and all that kind of stuff, as well as the fact that this book itself is uniquely made. They didn't just print these books off multiple copies of the exact same model. They went ahead and created these individually, and I'll show you what I mean by them being like individual. You'll never see the same Liberation book twice, and I'll show you what I mean by that once we open it. So the book says Liberation Logbook. In the bottom here it says the original Too Many Bones artwork and sketches printed on worn and flame-singed pages and hand-signed by our artist and writer. This leather-bound journal contains excerpts from each gearlock and a complete adventure story. And so that's really the ticket right there. The fact that this was a handmade, created leather-bound book. Now, if they created a whole bunch of these leather-bound books, you could just consider them all to be the same. They're cool enough as they are, just like that. But what they did was they went the extra step, and they actually flame-singed the inside of the book. And, oh man, it smells so good. It smells amazing. They have, so like your book is really unique. So they have this really nice embossed kind of, oh, that feels really nice. So, and again, it's all leather. There's some string bound there. If you open it up, there you go. You got your signatures inside from the game designers, which is really cool. But you'll notice these pages, they're literally charred. Like, they actually have singes on the side. So they actually went ahead and burnt these pages. And that's the reason why they're super unique, is that you're never gonna, if your friend went and bought one, for instance, and you put them side by side, the singeing obviously is not gonna be the same as the other guys. So for instance, on this page, you can see that like this page got chewed up, but that's part of what they were attempting to do, right? So you got like a prologue in here, some great artwork, there's Pickett, a story, it's like a logbook. So you've got like day 1, so we obviously had day 1 on the first page, this is day 2, sorry. Then day 2 and 3, this is Boomer. Again, you got the singed page kind of look going on. You get to, actually it starts to get kind of crazy in the middle. And the nuts thing is, look at this. You can tell it was singed because I've even got literal soot on my hands from the book, like just from rubbing my fingers across it. And like the artwork is just incredible, like it's crazy. So it's the kind of thing, I guess I'm gonna have to wash my hands afterwards because it's actually pretty dark. But just amazing, like very, very cool. Like if you want to talk about authentic, like the book was actually burnt near a campfire, singed and bound. Can you not see my hands right now? Like it is legit. This is as authentic of a collector's edition as you could possibly want from a leather-bound book. It's awesome. I mean, granted, I'm going to go wash my hands now. And at the very beginning, like obviously the edges are going to have, because they were well, what did the packaging say? It worded it like flame-singed pages. Yeah, so they were worn as well. So, you know, obviously because they did that and then immediately packaged it, they didn't like wash it or wipe away any of the soot. But I mean, it's fairly obvious that it won't be like that forever. As you read it and go through it, that stuff will just disappear. But a very, very cool book. Very, very cool. So just kind of showing you a little bit of the artwork there. I don't want to go through everything. But yeah, this is, page-wise, you're talking almost 100, I think. You're looking at 95 pages. 95 pages. So very much worth the money if you're into the lore or get into the story really heavy. But that's pretty much it. That is everything that came with Too Many Bones. I picked everything up. I can't wait to kind of put it all in a pile and get playing it solo. I also am really interested in getting a component overview for you guys. When I release this video, the component overview may or may not be ready. When it is ready, I will link it in the description, or I may just make it even easier, put it up at the end of this video, so it might just pop up right now. And then also a playthrough will be coming in the future as well. And that will be as soon as I can get that buried into my schedule. I have to dive into the rules, make sure that I got those covered, and then we'll jump right in and we'll learn how to play this solo, and we'll see if this is something that interests you guys, because that's what Rolling Solo, or this channel, is all about, is trying to find games that are specific to solo gaming things that I think you guys may enjoy. And that's kind of how I operate. I only purchase or pick up games that I think... now, I don't mind, obviously, playing with friends as well. I play every week with a group of friends. I love co-op play. I love playing with other people in board games as well. But I've always had more of a pull towards solo gaming, and I spend more time doing that than anything else because it always fits my schedule, and I can always make it work. Versus the other way around, it's harder to always get people to commit, that kind of thing. So a game like this is like a godsend because essentially we've got a game here that I can sit down and I can just get lost in, a world that I want to get lost in because it looks really cool. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy it. Until next time, keep rolling solo.